When they ask me what's my testimony, I say that I'm here. Is that not testimony enough?
Yeah.
I could not be here.
Right.
You could not be here. Why does it have to be some catastrophic thing
Absolutely.
for it to be a testimony?
Right. Right.
Even like when I had my breast cancer, and my pastor was like, "Well, I
She
need you to
just
come up,
passed
and
that over.
I need you to come and tell your testimony, right?" And I was like, "Okay, And I was like, Pastor, my testimony is not gonna be like other people's testimonies." And he's like, "I know, that's why I want you to tell it." And so I said, "Well, my testimony is that I got breast cancer. I'm still here. Every day I'm a walking testimony. Breast cancer to me is just another disease. So whether I got diabetes, or you got breast cancer, you got, thyroid, you got something.
Right.
The point is that, what do you believe about that?"
Right. Greetings and welcome to the Elevated Flow podcast. I'm your host, Coach Flo, aka the Black Rowing Queen. The Elevated Flow podcast spotlights elite and everyday female athletes over 40, sharing how they elevate their game and their flow in sports, wellness, and life. These are powerful stories of resilience, wisdom, and inspiration to help women stay active, age strong, and pass the torch to the next generation. Today, I have a very special guest with me. Please help me welcome Kathleen Sharp. Welcome to the Elevated Flow podcast. How are you today?
Wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Thank
so
you.
Excited.
I'm excited as well. Thank you for agreeing to come on the podcast. Dr. Kathleen Sharp is a board-certified family medicine physician with added expertise in sports medicine and lifelong commitment to performance, wellness, and leadership. She earned her medical degree from Wayne State University School of Medicine and completed residency training at Bon Secours Health and Hospital System, followed by a sports medicine fellowship at Henry Ford Hospital. Her career spans private practice, urgent care leadership, homeless outreach, and service as a physician in the Texas Army National Guard. She is currently CEO of the Sharp Doctor LLC and co-owner of Alloy Personal Training North Mansfield and Rave Lura Naturals. A former collegiate basketball player at Brown University, Dr. Sharp won the 3 Ivy League championships and later played professionally in Copenhagen, Denmark. She also competed in triathlons, roller derby, and Oklahoma Senior Games. Passionate about mentorship, she has coached over 100 girls, leading teams to multiple championships, including a world title in Austria. Dr. Sharp is also a 2-time best-selling author. Please help me welcome Miss Dr. Kathleen Sharp. I keep wanting to say Miss.
Hello,
Gotta put some
hello.
respect on that name, right?
I
Right.
appreciate that.
And my soror of the most illustrious sorority in the world, Delta Sigma Theta. Ooh. All right, so let's get started. So, Doctor,
Yes.
at what point did you realize that you wanted to go into medicine?
Wow. So my grandmother used to do home health, and I used to go with her. And I just thought it was so cool, the relationship she built with these people and how they just loved her and she loved on them. And I thought, this is awesome. I was like, "Grandma, I'm going to do this when I grow up." She said, "No, you have to be a doctor." I said, "Oh, okay." That's where it spun from. I think I was in like maybe junior high, like beginning of junior high, seventh, eighth grade, something like that.
So you were one of those people when they asked you in junior high school then, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you're like, I want to be a doctor.
Yep.
And that is so cool because sometimes people say those things and they may not follow through with it, or their passion changes by the time they go to college. I know
Right.
several people that I went to college with that started off on that path to be a doctor, and then, I don't know, something about the curriculum was kicking their butt and they changed their majors.
Right.
Some of them went to psychology and other majors, but
Right. Yeah.
takes a lot of tenacity to continue on.
Yeah.
And yeah, absolutely.
You just gotta say there's no option. There's no other option. I just never thought there was another option.
That's awesome.
That's what I wanted to be, so I said I'm gonna do it. It wasn't easy. Yeah, it was tough.
I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was. What age were you when you started playing sports?
Same around junior high. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe earliest sixth grade, maybe earliest, just playing around on the playground, all the different things from was it foursquare to tetherball to basketball,
Yes.
kickball, right? So
Handball.
handball, exactly. When you
Yes.
handball on the wall,
Right.
like yeah. But so started there, and then junior high more, I would say organized. Started playing basketball with Olympia's Girls Basketball League out
Mhm.
in California, and that's where I kind of spawned the love for basketball. But I played all sports in high school.
Okay. Now, did you go to college on a athletic scholarship?
No, so Brown Ivy Leagues don't do athletic scholarships,
Mm.
but I was recruited by them, and I went there to play basketball.
So how does that work?
So if you meet the academic standards,
Got it.
you also get academic scholarship.
Got
So
it.
yeah,
Okay.
and I was valedictorian of my class, so I had the grades and the SAT scores and stuff to get scholarship and help out with the
That's
tuition. So
awesome. It's like
yeah,
athletic scholarship is not the only scholarships available.
no, there's a lot of them out there. It's just people don't know about them and don't apply for them, and the money just sits there.
Right,
So.
right, right. What
Mm.
what role do you feel like sports played in developing your identity as when you were in college?
Wow, I would go even earlier than that actually. Just plain organized and being on a team where you had to learn to play a role
Mhm.
and it wasn't just about you.
Right, right.
It taught me a lot because I'm an only child, so it was
Mm.
always just about me because I'm an only child. Right? So, just being in those sports, learning that a team is someone's depending on you to do what you said you were going to do.
Absolutely.
So that taught me from that point on, okay, if I'm going to say I'm going to do something, I have to do something because people are counting on me to follow through. Because if I don't hold up my part, then the whole team could fall apart. And I didn't want it to be on me that the team fell apart.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah.
So when you in undergrad, you went
Mhm.
through all of your major courses and everything to go
Right.
into medical school. At what point were you playing overseas?
I took a year off
Oh, okay.
after I graduated from Brown. In that year off, I went and played in Denmark.
Hmm. So what was that experience like playing overseas?
Oh my goodness. It was exciting and scary
Mhm.
all at the same time. I hadn't been overseas before. I hadn't been away from home, and my mom was like, "Well, I like the coach. I guess I'll let you go."
Okay.
The coach called my mom and talked to my mom, and I got over there. It was a learning experience because you don't know what to expect,
Mhm.
and you get over there and you realize these people are just like everybody else. You know, they have the same wants, needs, desires. My teammates were just normal people. I was getting paid, but no one else was. Everyone else was either a national player or they were just went to school, went to work, and they came and practiced and we played.
So how did you even know that as to be an option?
There were some people that had went and played overseas prior to me from my school.
Okay.
So when I said, "Hey, I want to do this," my coach reached out to some of her connections and they got me in touch with the coach there and they hit it off and he said, "Come on, let's do it."
So you only spent a year there?
Well, I always knew I was coming back to medical school.
Oh,
So
okay.
I actually, yeah, I did my medical school applications and they actually sent me back during Christmas break so I could go to my interviews.
Mm.
And then I went back and finished my season. And then when the season was over, I came back and went to medical school.
That is so admirable because
Mm.
I wanted to go away to go and do like a year abroad or whatever. I never
Right.
did, but
No,
the fact that you
no,
had that plan and you like executed it and then like, okay, I'm going back and just to have that experience. So what would you say the difference is, even though you said that the people over there were the same and everything? What do you feel like the biggest difference was in playing in an Ivy League school versus playing overseas?
I would say the expectations.
Mm,
You're getting paid to play, so it's a
mm,
job now.
okay.
It's not because you love playing, it's actually a job, which is different for the players now because a lot of them have these NIL deals and things like that, and it's more like a job for them now.
Right,
But
right.
when we played back in college, it was because you love playing.
Mm,
You know, you love to play. Yeah, it was some people, it was their means of getting education, but you love to play.
right.
So when I went to Denmark, I still loved to play, but there was a different pressure on you
I can
because
imagine.
they expected you to score a certain amount of points. They expected you to lead the team. They
Mm,
expected you to do these other things on top of getting used to a new place and all these different things. So a different pressure on you. Whereas I was more of a role player where I was in college,
mm-hmm.
and now I'm the star. So so it's a little different pressures.
Right. What was the interaction like between the players that weren't getting paid versus you? Like, did you feel any tension or, yeah, what was
Yeah.
that like?
Not at all. The teammates, I think it's how you interact with people in general. I don't think it has anything to do with they know they were getting a professional player. All the teams over there had one or two professional players, so they
Mm,
knew that. But how you interact with them, some people didn't get along well with their counterparts that, the professional players that came over and they didn't last long, right? Because it's all about how you interact with people. And
mm-hmm.
my teammates and I got along well, after they initiated me.
No, what was that like? Initiation, huh?
Denmark has their own beers that they make there.
Uh-huh.
So my teammates sat me down and said, "You have to try all of our beers," and they're like, "Or we're not going to accept you." They're just razzing me. They're just
Right.
playing, but they made me take a sip of all of them. So,
In one
and I
sitting.
and I'm not a drinker, so yeah. But
Oh,
that was our little initiation. But no, I had a great relationship with my teammates, and actually the coach, his wife was one of the players, and the coach and his wife I still speak to. They moved back to California, and when I go to California, I visit whenever they're around. We get together
nice.
and we still talk.
Okay.
Mhm.
So how do you feel like the demands, how do you feel playing a sport, playing basketball helped with the demands of medical school?
Well, I would say it helped because I learned balance and I learned
Mm,
how to prioritize certain things because to get through the curriculum and play basketball, you had to figure something out.
mm,
Because if you're doing like biochem, biology plus, calculus class or whatever, and you have a basketball season, and the teachers did not care that you played basketball.
right, right.
So now at schools where people are getting scholarships for basketball, they have all this stuff surrounding them and the classes, they'll bend classes for them and stuff. Not at Brown. You had to figure it out. So there was a test. The only thing that if there was a test and we were going to be on the road, one of our coaches could administer the test for us or we
Oh,
could come in and take the test early sometimes. So it just depends. But it taught me how to balance things and how to say, okay, this is a priority now. This is not a priority. This is a must do. This is a has to be done, but not a must do. So you have to learn how to balance and prioritize things to get through.
okay. What would you say? Did you have any challenges that you had to face and overcome while in medical school? I mean, because being an only child has its own it's its own thing. I've heard
Right,
from
right.
lots of people that are only children or an only child. Yeah, so being on a team, of course, you have that support from your team and everything. But were there other challenges that you had to overcome while you're in medical school?
Well, medical school is a little different because I did play a little basketball while I was in medical school, but I wasn't particularly on a team. We had like intramural teams that I
Okay.
would play with. And then I found a travel team
Mm.
that traveled around and played different colleges, like for exhibitions
Mhm.
that I played with. So that was kind of an outlet for me. So more so a de-stressor. So I
Mm.
always had something to look forward to, even though school might be kicking my butt. Okay, but I can go play
Yeah.
and I'll be okay. It's like something to look forward to for me. So not so much of a balance juggling thing, but more of a outlet at that point. And having teammates who weren't in medical school, yet they understood what I was going through, but they also understood that I couldn't be some places sometimes. But when I was there, they still said, "Hey, come on, we're gonna play. Let's go." They didn't treat me any different just because I missed a practice or I wasn't somewhere.
Okay. So after medical school, at what
Mhm.
point did you decide to go into private practice?
So yeah, so I wanted to do small town medicine because
Okay.
I always felt like you weren't a doctor, especially a family medicine doctor, if you didn't do small town medicine and see
Really?
everything and do everything, take care of people from birth to, you know, to death. For some reason in my mind, you just had to do that. So I went to a town in East Texas called Linden, Texas, and joined with two other doctors. And we had three nurse practitioners, PA, and there was an OBGYN as well there. So I loved my experience there. I learned so much.
Wow.
I learned from the nurse practitioner who had been practicing almost 30 years. I learned from the doctors who had been practicing for an extensive period of time. That experience really changed me as a physician.
Mm.
It's one thing to study it, it's one thing to see it while you're in medical school, but when you get out in practice, I recommend everybody go somewhere where they don't have the help of specialists. They don't have the help of, you know, the surgical center right there. You have to learn how to take care of people. And that helped me a lot.
And is that from that experience you felt like you were prepared and like I'm ready to conquer everything
Oh,
and
yeah.
go into private practice?
Well, I was in private practice there. So
Okay.
that was a private practice group.
Got it.
So there we had three different clinics in three different small towns and we were over the hospital in Linden.
Mm.
So we covered all that and then several nursing homes as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get these challenges. What challenges and
Oh,
did you
challenges. Yeah. So man, along the way, so many. I think I put some of them in my books, the Superwoman survival stories. There's some in there,
Okay.
but so undergrad, starting there. I barely made it through physics. I didn't make it through genetics. I just had to drop genetics. Genetics was just kicking my butt. I couldn't do
Really? Okay.
it. Yeah, my goodness, yeah. But physics, the only way I got through physics, see, basketball saved me again. The physics chair's daughter loved basketball. So I said, well, how about if she can come sit on the bench every home game if you get me through physics? And
Wow.
he was like, okay. So that's how I got through physics. I don't understand physics. I understand it, but I don't care about
Mm.
physics. And so
Okay.
so in class and studying, I was like, why do I need to know how the ball gets to her? I just want the ball to get to her, but they want the trajectory and
Right.
the quantum. I don't want to know how long it takes to get to a quantum. I can't even see the quantum. So
And you
it
have
was like,
never used it since you've been a doctor, have you?
so you use some basic
Okay.
physics, but not the extent to which
They wanted you to test
you
for.
have to go in. Correct, correct. So,
Okay.
but see, physics was one of those ones that was rough for me. Genetics was tough. I think the professor just didn't want to teach it, but I don't know. And I got injured. What year was it? I think it was my junior year. Hyperextended my knee,
Oh.
surgery or anything, but I was out for a little bit. So that was tough watching my teammates play, and I couldn't be out there because I would travel and everything with them.
Mm.
And it was it was a season where, was it my senior year? No, it wasn't my senior year. It was a season we had come to Houston because my mom was in Houston at the
Mhm.
time. And I played a little bit, but I couldn't play to the extent that, you'd want to in front of your family.
Mm.
So I wasn't able to play then, but I came back in senior year was fine, but that was hard.
Yeah. I can imagine. Having
And
an
I had,
injury in general is pretty difficult.
yeah, I had plantar fasciitis the whole time during college
Mm,
pretty much. So, yeah, I'd stand up and fall down because I forget. My trainer used
really?
to rub my feet after a bus ride because if I stood up to try to get off the bus, it'd be so debilitating I couldn't. So,
Wow. So how did you get through that? It just
stretch,
eventually went away?
yeah, stretching, learning different stretching techniques, icing and massaging, and I haven't had a problem with it.
As we speak right now, I'm rolling my foot on a ball with a
Are you?
massaging ball on the desk. Yes. I love what is it? SMR, self myofascial release.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yes.
It's painful, but okay.
But I have well, you don't know, but I have a bunion on my right toe, my big
Okay.
toe. And I don't know, one day I just put the ball in front of the couch and every morning I would roll my feet out. And after a couple of months or a couple of weeks, actually, I was able to do lunges without having pain in my toe. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I live by it and swear by it. But anyway, that was like a
It works.
sidebar.
It works. It's just painful. Some people can't get
Absolutely.
past the pain.
Yeah. When I first learned about it, I was doing I was doing it with the one on the side on my IT band.
Ooh.
And I was like, is this really possible? It was so painful. I just could not lie on that foam roller. And I was like, how do people do this? And then after a
Yeah.
couple of weeks, I was like, wow, I could not believe the pain I was experiencing the first time. I really thought it
Mhm.
was just going to be impossible to do. But yes,
Right.
it can be painful, but it does work. So you have coached over 100 girls in sports. Was it just in basketball? And what drew you to coaching?
Just basketball? Yes. Not really, no, because I've coached volleyball at the Y too. But my kids were involved in sports. So I wanted to help them be involved. And if there was ever an opportunity where they needed a coach and they didn't have one, then I would volunteer. So through that, that started at the Y. So basketball, volleyball at the Y. And then my girls started wanting to play a little more organized basketball. So I found the Lady Panthers Girls Basketball Association. And I like their philosophy. I love that they taught the game. It wasn't just about trophies, but they
Mm,
loved the girls, they taught the game, and they preached academics to them.
mm,
And I said, yeah, this is what I want to be a part of. So I continued on with them even after my girls were done and continued coaching with them. And that's how it started. And it's basketball, and I'm still part of the coaching staff. We just are all of our girls graduated. We haven't started with a new group, but we do USA basketball open court, and I'll go out and help with that and 3-on-3 tournaments and stuff like that.
okay. So
Mhm.
it sounds like you just have these ideas of what you want to do, and then you figure out how you're going to do it, and then you just execute it. I love it. So where did the National Guards and the Army come in with all of
So
this?
I always wanted to be in the military, right?
Okay.
So my mom would always be like, no, no, because I wanted to do it to pay for college. I wanted to do it to pay for
Mm,
med school. She was like, no, so okay. Then when I was old enough where she couldn't say no, I did it. So so I commissioned in to be on the 17th. It'll be 13.
wow. Okay. So you're a doctor in the military.
I am.
Okay. That is so cool. Now, what about the military what was your reason for always wanting to be in it?
I don't know what it was. It's just
Did you
like I
see the
always thought it was
commercials doing like
no.
sports or something? Because one of my
I
other
thought
guests
it was
was like,
cool. I really wanted to do like boot camp.
uh-huh.
But then by the time I was ready to do it, I'm like, boot camp doesn't sound all that cool, 'cause I was like 40, I think. Well, yeah, 40 when
Okay.
I was like, boot camp doesn't sound cool. So I was like, is this something else? And they're like, well, we need doctors. And I really
Mm,
was going to do Air Force, right? And then one of my roller derby friends, her husband was a recruiter for the Army. And he's like,
mm.
no, we really need doctors, and Army has much more people and we need doctors. And I said, okay, well, let me see what you're talking about. And got with the recruiter, and that's the story. I'm now 13 years in with the Texas Army National Guard.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what about what is the difference in getting into the military at an older age like that? Was it because
I
did it help that you were a doctor and they
Oh,
needed
yes.
doctors? Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. There's an age cutoff for
Okay.
anything. A 40-year-old wouldn't typically go in unless they
Okay,
had some
that's what I
skill
was
that the military needed.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
that's what I
yeah.
was thinking, like, okay, you went in at 40? Okay.
Yeah. And you still have to meet the physical requirements. So
Mhm.
I still have to do the ACFT or they changed it to the ACT. I mean, we have to do that still. You have to pass. You have to make height and weight. So all those things still hold true for you, even though you go in as a physician. It's just that we're needed and there's not many of us in the
Mm.
population in general.
Mhm.
So imagine in the military, right? So,
Right, right, right.
yeah.
So what is your experience? I've talked to several of my guests have talked about their medical or healthcare challenges as a Black woman. What has
Uh-huh.
your experience been like advocating for, because I'm sure you have to, advocating for Black women in the healthcare system as a doctor?
I think it comes down to advocating for equitable care in general. It's for me, yes, Black women are important, but for me, just equitable care in healthcare is important because
Mm,
it's just not there. And it's socioeconomic, it's gender, it's race. There's a vast variety of reasons why it's not equitable across the board. So just looking at our healthcare system and trying to figure out, well, how do we fix it?
mhm,
How do doctors work to fix it? And there are several organizations that do that, that work for equity. You know, National Medical Association is a big one. The AMA does some on some levels. Texas has its own branch of the National Medical Association, and they do a lot of stuff within the Dallas Fort Worth area. There's a
mhm,
chapter, so you'll see a lot of programs where they go to the historically Black colleges like Paul Quinn and do programs. They're in the community doing walk with a doc, so people in the community can have walk the park or whatever and talk to a doctor. Just getting access, right?
mhm.
As far as getting young physicians of color to be physicians of color, young people to come in and be physicians, I think that's more of, hey, you got to see it to believe it.
Mm,
So that's being out there and being visible and letting them know it's possible. We're here. Unless you're in academia, you're not able to totally, touch them as much. But
right.
I do mentoring, so I will mentor young people who want to go into medicine. So that's how I do my contribution is by mentoring them, letting them know they can do it, letting them know, yes, it's hard. Yes, you're going to have setbacks. Yes, some of your professors, some of your doctors that are preceptors are going to treat you differently. You just have to know you're there. They see you, even though they may act like they don't, but that means they see you.
Right.
And you have to just be the best that you can be. Don't I get kind of frustrated with the notion that we have to be 3 times better than the next person.
Mhm.
Because if you are doing what you're supposed to do and you are doing the standards and you are taking care of people and you're staying on top of your medicine and know what's best for patients, then you're already doing the best. Right? Um, I think we kill ourselves trying to be 3 times better than. What does that mean?
Right.
What does it mean to be 3 times better than someone? What does it mean to be, I got to be double as good as you? That notion bothers me.
Mm,
It always has. And it's hard to say it because people in our community will get upset and be like, well, it's true. We have to be better than the average person. I was like, no, they're average and they're substandard. But we are, if you shoot for excellence, you shoot for excellence because that's what you're supposed to do.
right, right.
And just because they're mediocre doesn't mean we're doing 3 times of what's necessary. What it means that we're excelling and we're shooting for excellence. They're just not.
Yeah.
So yes, they might get a position and they don't deserve it, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have been shooting for excellence. You should have been doing that anyway.
Right.
And they should have as well.
Right.
How are you going to go into a job where you take care of people and you're not shooting for excellence?
Right.
So it's just ridiculous to me. So, and I understand the notion, we have to, you have to be valedictorian where they can be, middle of the class and get in. I understand the concept, but
Right.
when you get to this level, you're taking care of people. Everybody should be shooting for excellence.
Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah. But the equity issue is just it's an ongoing battle. And physicians, I think, dropped the ball somewhere along the line because we let insurance companies take over. So, yeah.
I know that's a
So,
whole nother conversation.
yeah. Yeah.
So I like
So,
something that you have on your website. You said you're intrigued by the complexity of the nervous system, the beauty of muscle movements, the efficiency of the circulatory system, and the resiliency of the immune system. Speak to
yeah.
me about that. I love that. I absolutely love that.
God didn't make a mistake. So just being able to study how it all comes together,
Mm-hmm.
it's just phenomenal to me. It blows my mind every time I see a little baby
Mm,
and seeing how that baby all of a sudden, walks, and then the baby talks, and then the baby gets sick, and then the baby gets better. And it's just the whole evolution of life is
mm-hmm.
just remarkable because the system is like an artwork.
Mm-hmm.
So when I used to go to anatomy class, we worked with cadavers at Wayne State. So we didn't do cross sections like some of the schools. We actually had cadavers. So we dissected our own cadaver, a person, gracefully and thankfully donated their body so that we could do that. For me, it was like looking at art.
Mm,
So you're looking through there, you're like, look at this muscle, and everybody's body can be a little different. So yeah, this typically inserts here, this typically inserts there. This artery usually comes down here, but every few people, they have a little abnormality, right? So this artery comes off this way, or this one comes off that way. And just learning that and studying it was just fascinating for me. And just muscles, like I sit and watch people and I just look at the different muscles on their body and how they curve and and not necessarily bodybuilders, just normal everyday people,
mm-hmm.
just like, okay, that's pretty, okay, they got a nice this muscle or they got a nice that muscle. My friends will tell you, yeah, they're like, okay, she's a little weird. But yeah, I like contours. I like the way the body works and how it's shaped, and yeah, not in a weird, creepy way, but
No, I
just
get it. I get it. That's why I was
yeah,
so
yeah,
excited about that because I'm like that. So
yeah,
when I went to school, I'm a personal trainer and
mm,
we went over anatomy and the different things. It was like, oh, I love this. And then I also got a degree in psychology. So I loved like
oh, the mind,
neuropsychology and all of that,
ooh,
and studying
yeah,
the brain and everything. But yeah, I'm
yeah.
always fascinated by that. And that's why I was like, oh, I just love this quote here. But
Yeah.
you said something that I wanted to ask you about. You said cross section versus the cadaver. What is that?
So there's some schools where they don't have the privilege of having cadavers. So a professor will cut cross sections of the body and outline the different portions of the anatomy for the students, and they study it that way. So imagine the body is laying down.
Hmm.
There will be cross sections cut like this, and then they would outline, okay, this is the heart, this
But
is
it's not
the
a real
aorta.
cadaver, or
No,
there
no,
are, it's still parts of the body.
it was
Okay.
a real person, yeah.
Okay.
They just cut up parts of it.
Interesting. I always
Yeah,
thought that if I saw a dead body that I would freak out.
yeah,
And I went to Fisk University in Nashville
yeah.
and Meharry Medical School was right across the street. And I
Okay.
actually walked down one of the halls and saw them like working on a cadaver. And I was like,
Yeah,
that is
yeah,
so cool.
yeah,
I wasn't freaked
yeah,
out by it. So that's really cool
yeah,
to have that experience, especially, coming
yeah.
from like junior high school where you're dissecting frogs and stuff like that.
Right,
But to actually
right.
see a human body,
Yep.
I
Yeah,
remember
it's pretty cool.
I thought my mom, well, I'm not going to say I thought. I remember her saying that she wanted to donate her body to science at one point. And then, fast forward years later, and we're talking about that. And she was like, "Oh, no, I want to be buried." I was like, "Well, I'm glad we're talking about this." I'm sure I would have been like, "No, she wasn't." She's like, "Oh, no." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So, anyway, it is a very gracious act for people to do that.
Yeah,
That is so cool. One of
yeah.
my previous guests, she actually had a heart transplant. And
Wow.
I'm just like, wow, like for somebody to even donate their heart is really, admirable.
Right.
So that's really
Exactly.
cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. The
So,
only bad thing about anatomy is that you smell like formaldehyde
mm,
the whole semester.
mm.
So they said no one would get a date during anatomy.
Okay. Wow, that's interesting. Okay. So I want to go back to something we're talking about sports with
Okay.
well, let's say the cross section between sports and leadership. So how would you say that playing sports or when a leader is responsible for the wellness and well-being of a team, what would you say is important for them to do to make sure that their team members are well?
Know your teammates, get to know them. Like not just what they do on the court, get to know what they do off the court, what's important to them and their likes, their dislikes, basically just getting to know them. You have to get to know the people. And that's the only way you can lead someone is if you know someone, right? So you have to know them and you actually have to care.
Mm,
So, some people like the leadership role because they want the title, but they don't care about the people. So they're toxic leaders.
mm,
A team is going to work harder for a leader, a coach, whoever that shows that they care about them
absolutely.
on and off the court.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
And that's what I was leading to, like leaders within corporate America, even, that's extremely important. Where would you say that most team or leaders fail in that area, like in a corporate setting?
I think it's probably they just don't get to know their people.
Hmm.
I'm not sure in a corporate setting how well that has to be built in the structure and the culture of the corporation.
Absolutely.
And if it's not, that leader would have to lobby for it if that's their leadership style, right? So
Right.
they would have to say, hey, I need to figure out a way to get out of the office and get to know my team. I need to figure out why is Johnny always tired or why is Lucy really good at this, but it seems like she lacks in this area right here. If you learn about them and find out, oh, well, this happens at home, Johnny is working another job at night. If you learn those things about people, then you can understand and possibly move them around to where they could be more productive for you.
Right.
But I don't think the culture of a lot of corporations allows that. And I think there's always that blur, right, between the leader getting to know the people too much.
Right.
How do you balance that? Especially in our era of legality,
Hmm.
you know, everyone, he was a little too nice to me. I think he's coming off to me. Or she said I looked good today.
Right. Right.
So people taking things the wrong way and taking it to a higher level where everybody's kind of on edge. So that culture can be lost because of
Right.
fear of connection. And we had a long time where we weren't connected too, right? COVID changed things a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
So people are looking at each other through screens. They're typing, their little hearts out, on social media, and they're saying nice things to some people, horrible things to other people, but doesn't matter because they're hiding behind a screen, right? So I think leaders have a tough time right now. I mean, it's a tough atmosphere to be a true leader and say that I want to bring back a culture where we get to know people
Right.
and where people are important. And I understand the risk of that, but we have to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you've ever led high performers and wondered why they still burn out, disengage, or plateau, this is for you. Former athletes don't struggle at work because they lack discipline. They struggle because the coaching systems that once supported their growth are gone. I work with organizations that want more than output. They want sustainable performance, retention, and leaders who thrive. Because employee wellness, well-being, development, and feedback aren't perks, they're core priorities. If you're ready to build a coaching culture that supports the whole person in work and at life, let's talk. Click the link in the description to learn more about corporate wellness and leadership development opportunities. Now let's get back to the episode. Well, what would you say is, how have you navigated being a doctor, being in the Navy, not the Navy, the Army Reserve, right? Army Reserve?
Army National Guard, yeah.
Army National Guard. Okay, Army. Okay, that's why I mixed up that part. With being a parent and a parent, a wife,
Right. So,
and maintaining your wellness and being active and all of that.
right. It's been interesting. So I didn't join the military till after I got divorced. So
Okay.
the kids, they had a hard time in my first deployment, but I did have a good village around me that helped. My line sisters, other sorors really stepped in to help while I was gone to help with the kids. The second deployment was still tough. I think the first one they were in going into ninth grade. The last one older ones were going into ninth grade. Then the second one, the older ones it was their junior year because I got back in time for their graduation. So it was the beginning of their senior year. Yep, beginning of their senior year because I got back for graduation. But so that's always tough. For me, deployments are fine. I don't have a problem deploying. Home when you got to come back home and hopefully everything is still intact. That's the hard part. When the kids were younger, I didn't have to deploy because when I got divorced, it was 2012, and I didn't get in until 13, so something like that. So, yeah, village helped.
Okay.
Village helped a lot. There was some tough times, with the kids that, they didn't do so well. They didn't like it, you know, but we made it. We're still here. They're all still alive. Nobody's in jail. So,
That's important. Did you ever have guilt
Mhm.
about that, like having to deploy and leave them before they graduated high school?
Not really guilt.
Okay.
No. We talked about it. I talked to them about it. I said, hey, this is what I signed up for. These are, it afforded them some things too. They got money for college. They got, so it was like I explained to them there was a purpose to it. It wasn't just because I want to do something, but there was a purpose to help us all by doing this. So they understood, but they didn't.
Right.
Now they understand a little more.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The benefits, the medical benefits, the educational benefits they, get from me deploying. So those things, I had to weigh the balance, I have 4 kids, they're like 16 months apart. So, um, you know, they're all went off to school pretty much the same time.
Wow.
And I knew that was gonna happen, and no matter how much money I put away, it wasn't gonna be enough to help out. So
Smart move. Smart move. And they're probably like, "Yay, mom!"
it was
Now,
strategic. It was strategic. Yeah, it was
right.
strategic. Yeah.
Well, I said in your bio that you are a 2-time best-selling author. When did storytelling and writing author become a part of the story?
That's funny. So another friend of mine, she's a doctor, Doc Swiner. She's actually the publisher of the first book, and she said, "Well, we have this book called Superwoman Survival Stories," and she put it out there if anybody wanted to write a chapter in it. And I kind of sat on it. I'm not writing a chapter. And then my other friend was like, "Are you gonna do this or not?" I said, "Oh, okay." So I sat down and wrote it. And they're like, "We just want you to write about your life and what you went through and how you got where you are." I was like, "Okay." So I sat down and wrote it. And that was that. So that book actually has 2 volumes. I'm in volume 1, which is Superwoman Survival Stories, and then the next one is Superwoman Survival Stories 2.
Now, are these all doctors or not necessarily?
No,
Okay.
no, not all doctors, just different professions.
Okay.
All Black females, so
Okay.
different professions. Yeah. And that, I met some people and their stories were phenomenal. I mean, these women, I was like, wow. You think, I don't look at myself as, being phenomenal or doing anything phenomenal. I just do what I need to do and what I desire to do. But when I read about these other women, I'm like, oh my goodness, look what these people have done. Look what they've been through. So
And I'm sure they were doing the same thing about you.
yeah, it's just funny because you don't look at yourself like that,
Right.
right? But then the poetry book was just a culmination of all the poetry I've written over the years. And my ex-husband's cousin is an artist,
Mm.
and I've been trying to get her to do something with her art for a while. And I said, hey, why don't you put your art next to my poetry and we do a book? So that's what we did. It's
Wow.
her poetry and her artwork right alongside my poetry. So reflections of love and art.
Love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing is that you play volleyball. You haven't talked about that because I know that Dee Monique was telling me about you guys meeting in Africa on a
Yeah.
deployment, playing
Yeah.
volleyball. How'd that come
Yeah.
about? Playing
So volleyball is like probably my number one. I love volleyball. That's not what afforded me to continue to play, throughout the years. I love volleyball.
Okay.
So playing over in Djibouti
Mhm.
while we were there, she just happened to be another person that was playing and she looked familiar. I was like, "You look familiar." And she thought I was crazy. She's like,
It's like all black people
we
look
here
alike.
we go. Here we go, right? And then the head coach for the Lady Panthers Girls Basketball Association. I was like, so I met this lady and she said she lives in Cedar Hill. I told her she looks familiar, and she's like, well, I was like, so and so. She's like, you know her. I was like, I thought I saw her before because her daughter played basketball and we coached basketball, so we saw them at like tournaments and stuff.
Wow.
So yeah. So it was just kind of funny. And she was like, "You're crazy." I was like, "No, might be a little crazy, but you do look familiar."
That is amazing. And then you guys came back to the States and ended up living like 6 miles away from each other or
Yeah, we
6
actually
minutes
live.
or so.
Yeah, yeah, we live really close to each other. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's kind of funny. Yeah, but yeah, I love volleyball though. Yeah.
Well, talk a little bit about the Alloy. I know you are partners with her in the Alloy Personal Training Company.
Mhm.
So, talk a little bit about your clients that you work with and what motivated you to start doing personal training.
So I've always been into fitness. I've got a health coach certificate for nutrition and mindset, and always, like, I love the human body. But anyway, so personal training, we were actually looking at different franchises because we were like, oh, we got to do something. What do you want to do? And Alloy popped up, and we're like, oh my goodness, this blends everything that we believe in. Fitness, strength training, working with people, our age and up to make sure they don't just sit down and lose all their muscle and stop being active, because there's no reason for us to stop being active.
Right.
We're in our prime. If you just use your body, you'll still be in your prime. So the Alloy concept, the Alloy motto, stronger together, everything about it resonated with us. So we deal with adults who want to continue to live life to the fullest, to look great, to feel great. And for those people who say, I can't do this or I can't do that, come see us at Alloy.
Mm.
You'll be able to do it. I guarantee you, in 3 to 6 months. You can't get off the floor. Yeah, come see us, and not because you're like paralyzed or something. Now we're not gonna fix that, but
Right, right, right,
meaning you just haven't done it in a while, and you don't know how to do it anymore.
right.
You wanna get back to playing, whatever sport. You may not play like you did when you were 20, but
Right.
you will be able to play. I play with women 50 and over basketball every Tuesday. I missed it today because I had another meeting, but every Tuesday we play. And there's 80-year-old women out there running circles, you know, playing basketball.
I love
So
it.
there's no reason you can't continue to be active and do everything you want to do. Come
Absolutely.
see us at Alloy. We'll help you fix that.
Yeah. I helped my dad move here to Texas from California, what, 5, 6 months ago? And
Wow.
I started training him because I'm like, I work with all these older adults online and we live in a house together. I need to train you too. So the
Right.
other last week or so, I told him, I said, okay, he gets up off the mat and he uses his hands. And I said, well, we're going to work on, you should be able to get up without using your hands. He was like, what?
Right. There.
No, that's like a sign of wellness, like you being able to get up off the floor. So you mentioning
Yeah.
that, that's something that I'm working with him on.
Okay.
You gonna
Yeah.
get up off the floor without using your hands. It's like,
There you go. Get that
might be
core strength. Yep. Hip
absolutely.
flexors going. Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
He can do it. He can do it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna move into our section on the segment on passing the torch. Actually,
Oh,
before that, elevated flow. When do you feel like you are in your flow state, where you're working hard, all your skills and knowledge and everything comes together. And even though you're working hard, it just seems like everything is easy and it's flowing. When would you say, whether it's in life, when you're practicing, training, when would you say
right.
that you're in your elevated flow state?
I think there's two times where I feel that way. One is when I'm in clinic
Mm,
and I'm just interacting with patients and talking with them, figuring out what's going on with them, helping them the best I can. Just that flow, I always feel good. I always feel good doing patient care. Even if it's a frustrating day,
mm-hmm.
it's still a good day. I get to, interact with people and take care of people. So that would be one.
That's all.
The other would probably be just me interacting, playing sports with other people. It's just on Tuesdays, that is just like a vibe for me. Just
Mm,
and Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays when I get to go play volleyball over at the Summit in Grand Prairie, it's a vibe for me
okay.
because it's a competitiveness, you're interacting, and you're getting to move and it's one thing to go work out by yourself,
Right.
and that's all cool because you got to do it, but it's so much better when you're doing it with other people. So,
I need to
yeah.
become a part of another kind of team. I'm on the rowing team, but yeah, I need to
Yeah.
do. Anyway, what would you say, passing the torch to the next generation? What would you say to a younger woman that about the importance of wellness and strength training too, but just overall wellness and how important it is just for longevity?
So what I'll tell my 20-year-old self is everything
Yes.
you're doing to yourself in your 20s, I got to pay for it in my 40s and
Mm.
50s. So could you please
Yes.
be a little nicer to me? So people think that all of a sudden, like you hit 40 and 50 and all this damage starts happening. No, you did it all to yourself in your 20s.
Right.
If you could learn to, I'm not saying don't enjoy life.
Right.
Not saying don't, be adventurous because I'm all for experiencing things and going out and living life, but do it responsibly.
Mhm.
Make sure you're eating well. Don't just eat processed crap all the time. Stay away from fast food. All of it's junk. Even the ones that say they're not. They're all junk. You find out later it was junk,
Right.
okay? Learn to cook. Males, females, learn to cook for yourself because you know what you want to eat. So learn how to feed yourself. Get proper sleep. I understand everybody wants to hustle. You want to hustle. Oh, I got to get it done. I want to party and I got to get it done. You have to let yourself sleep. Please get some sleep. People say, oh, you need 8 to 10 hours sleep. Yes, you do. But some of y'all are getting like 2 hours of sleep. And I know. because I see it in the clinics all the time. And you're young, and you guys look. Someone I saw a 20-year-old. I was like, I swore they were 40. I had to look at the chart again, and I said, "What?
Really?
Yes, I thought this guy was 40." And I looked at the chart. And I'm like, "So, what's your date of birth?" I thought maybe we transposed something, and I'm looking. I'm like, and I see it all the time. I'm like, what are you guys doing to yourselves?
Mm.
You know, stop with the drugs.
Mm.
I don't care if they say it's from the earth. It wasn't meant for you to use it every day. You know, stop. You know, this don't do things to yourself just because you think that you're young and you'll bounce back from it because you're gonna pay for it in your 40s and 50s.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's
So
something else that I read on your website that I say too. If you take care of your body will take care of you.
exactly.
It is so true. So true. Awesome. Awesome. Dr. Sharp, where can people find you if they want to follow you online?
Well, they can the Sharp Doc. All you have to do is type in the Sharp Doc, and all my socials show up.
All right. And I'm going to put
My
it in the show notes as well.
my website is www.thesharpdoc.com. Everything's the Sharp Doc. My blog, the Sharp Doc.
Awesome. Awesome. So do you have a book, another book in the works? What are your plans? What do you have going on? I know you said you're going on deployment.
Yeah, I'm going on deployment right now.
No?
So I'm
Okay.
gonna be yeah, I leave the end of this month. So looking at forming some courses. So stay tuned. Some courses coming up soon on patient stuff and
Hmm.
some medical stuff to help people and looking at formulating an app to help people out with some things. So
Awesome.
stay tuned.
Awesome.
2020, 2027.
Okay. Keep us posted. You don't have to come back
Yeah,
when you launch your app.
there you go. There you
Awesome.
go. Go,
Awesome. Well,
go
thank you.
get my book. Go get my book. Go
Yes.
get
Go
my
get the
book.
book. Where can they get the book?
Okay, Reflections of Love and Art is on Amazon. Type in this title, it's the only one. It comes up, bam, orange cover. Superwoman Survival Story is also on Amazon. You can also purchase from my website. The only problem is that I'm not gonna be here to mail them out, so
Go on Amazon.
don't get it the website. So just go on Amazon.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome. All right.
yep.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Sharp.
Oh,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much for
So,
being
Coach
on the
Flo.
yes, yes. Well, until next time, this is Coach Flo signing off. Remember to find your zone and elevate your flow. Peace.
All right.